Hello, everybody, and welcome to Big Fight Breakdown. We're joined today by middleweight contender Shane Mosley Jr. Shane, I know you're familiar with both guys, Caleb Plant and David Benavidez. You spent a lot of time, a considerable amount of time with both of them at City Boxing. Did you spar both guys or just one of them?
I have sparred both guys.
You have. So what was your takeaway from those? Was there anything that surprised you? Anything different? Anything that came as like an unexpected?
Both guys, great fighters, great fighters in their own right. Caleb Plant, I would say I've spent more time around him and sparring with him, and I would say that he's a incredible slick boxer and very very talented at ring generalship and just movement and figure out the punch placement and things like that. Masterful boxer.
Yeah,
I would say that David Benavidez is just an all-around. He's the Mexican monster.
yeah.
I think for a reason, man. He punches fast, punches hard. Very, very creative with his combinations, and just overall monster. He tries to overwhelm you with the punches and the punch selection and things like that. And great in his own right. I think this is an incredible fight, and I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to see the way it plays out.
I don't see any way that this is not anything but an action-packed, all-out brawl. There's legitimate bad blood in this fight. These guys really don't like each other. There's nothing drummed up. It's not for publicity. They have a genuine dislike for each other. How does that play in the fight, or does it at all? Does it have any kind of impact on it?
I think these guys at this level, even though there is an animosity, I believe that they both know how to separate that when it comes fight time, and that shows the testament of a great fighter. And we have two great fighters in there, so of course I believe that there's legitimate bad blood, but I think that they are capable to take that out and then implement their game plan, whatever that game plan is. And I feel like whoever implements their game plan to the best of their ability and better is going to win this fight. I truly believe that.
One of the topics in the build up to this fight has been the quality of opposition. They both obviously fought Anthony Durrell. How does that come into play? The quality of opposition. Do you think one guy has had a little bit more experience than the other, or better competition, better opponents that will better prepare him for this fight?
Well, I think collectively you probably could say that David has fought more of the better opposition, but Caleb has fought the best fighter in this era, probably.
Right.
Alvarez, and came up short barely. He got to 11 rounds, was boxing pretty good, and got caught with a shot. Like many others have. I feel like he boxed very, very well. I think he did a great account for himself. But we're talking about Canelo Alvarez. Caught him with a big shot right on the money and got him out of there. You know what I mean? So, and that could happen to anybody. You know what I mean? So, and who's to say that couldn't happen to David Benavidez if he fought Canelo? You know what I mean? Like, we don't until it happens. So, with that being said, yes, David has fought more of the better opposition. But if we're going to weigh Canelo Alvarez to all the people that David's fought, there's nobody on David's resume that is Canelo Alvarez.
Yeah. So maybe that's probably a benefit to Plant. I mean, just like Canelo got in there with Mayweather, look at how much of a better fighter that made him after that. And you would hope the same thing would happen with Caleb Plant if he's got that championship heart,
I mean, you could say, honestly, after the Caleb Plant fought Canelo, he knocked out Anthony Durrell better than David stopped him.
Right.
You know what I mean? Nobody was expecting that from him. And so you could say that is the testament to the fighter that he's become since he fought Canelo Alvarez.
Right.
We're in for a good fight.
I think so. So let's break it down into character traits. If you got size, speed, power, punching activity rate, and ring IQ, who do you think takes the edge in each of those categories?
Well, size, I would say that, by default goes to David Benavidez.
Benavidez, yeah.
And definitely knows how to use that size, and he definitely knows how to show his presence to people, along with the fact that when he gets close, he has really fast hands.
Yeah.
When he gets close and then runs those hands, and so it makes you really feel that size. So that's a benefit to him.
Now, how about speed? That's probably a pretty close category, but again, going back to your experience with both those guys, you probably have a best assessment of that.
So I would say overall speed is probably David, but speed isn't just how fast you can run your hands.
Right.
Speed is timing. Speed is and mix up those shots to outwork a guy or beat his timing. And that I could say Caleb Plant is a master at changing his speeds, changing his tempos, changing the direction of the shots, make you not get that shot. Even, for instance, when he knocked out Anthony Durrell, he did a hook up top, hook to the body, and then switched the timing from the hook up top for where he wasn't expecting it.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that it was fast, it was just that it was a different timing. And so it appeared and looked faster to everybody else and got an incredible knockout with that. So with that being said, overall speed, I would probably say David, because he's really fast with twitch muscles.
Right.
But timing, which we know that equates to speed as well.
Right.
It goes to, I feel, Caleb. So, however you want to figure that.
Yeah.
Pretty evenly matched.
Okay. How about power?
Well, again, from what we've seen from David, he's been known to, brutalize these guys, just really beat them up. And then they eventually, kind of crumble. Now
he breaks his guys down.
He breaks his guys down. An accumulation of punches, and I'm sure they look very, very hard.
Yeah.
So with that being said, I would, initially give that to him. But again, when it comes to that, the timing and punch place and the timing of your shots, when those land, if he could hit David in the middle of some of those hard exchanges, you run a guy into your power, and maybe punch as hard as him, but if you could punch him in between those shots, you can get essentially he can knock himself out. For instance, beautiful example, Gervonta Davis versus Rolando Romero.
Yeah.
Rolando, in my opinion, Romero knocked himself out.
Yeah.
So big and with his hands down, and Gervonta just placed that shot beautifully in between the middle, and Rolly was knocked out cold.
Out on his feet, yeah.
Exactly. So with that being said, that I can give to, and as we've seen in the last, we've talked about in the last example, was the Durrell fight, which was his last fight. He was able to do that and get an incredible knockout. So if he can do that in this fight and find David's timing, it could be there. But I would say just off of the I kind of ran off on that, but
no, you're good.
Initial power, I would just give that to David. But I do feel like Caleb has the ability to have power as well.
Yeah, it's interesting because a lot of them are very close.
Yeah.
The next one, activity rate, I can answer that. As well as you can. That's David Benavidez all day long.
Yeah, he throws a lot of punches. For his size and how big he is, and even for being a super middleweight, he throws a lot of punches.
Yeah,
works on that. Him and his trainers and his dad, they all work on high activity, breaking you down, beating you up, and then getting you out of there. So that's kind of their game, you know. So with that being said, that goes to him.
Yeah, that volume has a way of wearing you out.
Yes, it does.
Okay, the last one is ring IQ.
Yeah,
You kind of touched on this, but go ahead and expound on it.
absolutely. So I would say that we've seen from Caleb Plant that he has been able to use that ring IQ very well, punch placement, um, mixing up the directions of shots, being really, really smooth on his feet.
Hmm.
Um, so, you know, initially, it goes to him,
Hmm.
but obviously being in there with all the great fighters that he's been in there with, which is David Benavidez, I
Yeah.
definitely he has IQ. He knows how to, you know, beat guys into submission, which, in my opinion, is ring IQ. If I
Right.
can beat you up to the point where you forget your game plan,
Yeah.
that's good IQ right
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just make you submit to what I'm doing, and so that's good IQ. But initially, when we talk about natural boxing and kind of the placements of shots and beautiful boxing, I would give that to Caleb Plant. But
Yeah.
I definitely would say that David has that by submission.
Yeah. Yeah. One party ring IQ too is Benavidez is raised in the sport. I don't know when Caleb started, how early on, but there's something to be said for that. When you start out, you're just out of diapers, you're in boxing gloves, and that was the Benavidez kids in general.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
if you were to be backed into a corner, who would you go with? Who would you go with this weekend? Caleb Plant or David Benavidez?
So because I would say that my personal style probably leans more towards this fighter, I would say this is why I'm going with this fighter. Fairly because I like one better than the other because I
Sure.
love both guys, but and I think they're both within the right. But I think the guy that fits my style more is Caleb Plant,
Hmm.
that pure boxer, that type of style,
Yeah.
and I love to see that style win.
Yeah. Good call. Good call. Again, I don't see any way it's not a great fight. Last question: Mexican Monster versus Sweet Hands. Who has the better nickname?
Oof, probably Mexican Monster. That's a cool name, and it was given to him by the great Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it should be
That's pretty cool.
right.
Well, Shane, thanks for sharing your insights and your expertise. Really appreciate it, and we'll see you at the fights.
All right, man. See you there.